Hi, so this is going to be a bit of a different one. I'm actually going to tell you a real life story for Halloween. About a month ago, I went job searching online to get my first job. And yeah, I know it's probably a little pathetic that I'm 22 years old, going on 23 in about half a year, but this was going to be my first job. I was scrolling through a job finding website and I see one that caught my eye. It was to work at a haunted house that I will not name because I don't want to be giving them any attention. But I thought it sounded stupid and quick, and it was only for a few weekends a month. So I said screw it. I talked to their owner and I got in. My first day there was actually pretty alright, but I didn't have a special character or idea or anything yet. What I would do is stand there and bang a rock on a wall when people came by, and it was surprisingly effective. A lot of the people working there who were coming to test us on it genuinely got caught off guard, but my thing had to have more of that. So, in order to tie in with the girl who was standing next to me's act, who was this crazy, psychotic, like, nursery woman who all the kids died in a fire because this was that kind of haunted house. I was one of the role that I was assigned, not by me, by one of the higher ups there, was to act like a giant creepy mutant man baby and sing nursery rhymes alongside it. Honestly, it was kind of great because I had perfect synergy doing that with the lady, even if it was a very slightly demeaning costume and setup, although I actually didn't get a costume. We'll get on to that. So the first night it was fine, if a little bit boring. I didn't have any mobile data on my phone, and I don't think I brought any water, but I was fine. People working there would come by and we would have to do our thing, and it seemed like a pretty simple job. But the real big red flag started showing by the time we had to leave, because instead of having someone come by and lead us out, they just kind of turned on the lights and said, "Hey, get out of here," while all the stupid sounds and jump scare props were still going, which doesn't sound so bad, but that leads into the second day of work. Second day of work was about the same, except I was super dehydrated, sweaty. I had brought 2 drinks and I was still feeling awful. I had to bring a coat, which, by the way, my little chamber room thing that I had to sit in, which is also exposed to the outdoors and is comprised entirely of wood and dirt. Yeah, it wasn't great, and I was dehydrated. And come around, I believe, 6 o'clock when we were supposed to get out, because it was a shorter day. We were promised to get out about around 6. I asked the girl who was working next to me. She confirmed. I had to text my dad. And I just kind of sat there and stood there and did nothing. And then, come 40 minutes later, while I'm dehydrated and feeling like complete human garbage, they finally say, "Okay, you can go now." And that point, my entire view of the job was soured, but I at least thought, at least I'm gonna get paid, and this is just a stupid month thing. Well, as it turns out, when I was trying to get back to the garage that this was all operating out of, the main person who ran the whole thing wasn't there. And I asked one of the other costumer workers, I believe, there, and I asked him where he was, and she said, "I don't know." Actually, no, it was worse than that. She said he just left. You have to go find him. And I tried to, but apparently he had already left. I think I asked some other people. And I pressed the question, am I going to get paid for this training tour? And the real great big red flag happened, and that she said you would have to ask him about that. So This, combined with the fact that he was nowhere to be found, combined with the fact that I just felt awful after that, admittedly still kind of short training period, for a job where I stand in a corner and do the same three things over and over again, I immediately assumed that I wasn't going to be getting paid. And lo and behold, I contact him through text messages, and he comes up and tells me, since they're technically, actually no, I gotta really describe this, because it is the most insane loophole garbage I have ever heard. And anyone who's had a bad first job experience, thank your lucky stars that you probably were getting paid for it, because I was not. What he did was tell me that coming in to train was not mandatory. So, since it was a theater, they counted it as a theater thing or something, some stupid garbage. The fact that I didn't have to come in for training made it so I was not getting paid legally. Which, I mean, is stupid and unfair, but I was willing to let it slide a little bit, though that meant I was not coming in the next week until the thing started, because it was pretty brain dead what I had to do. So I told him all this, and he decides, oh, I'll pay you for what you're working, and believe it or not, he actually went through with that, but to me, on further inspection, that just seemed kind of like a desperate plea, because come the next day, after I've bounced back and forth with him, he says that my position is no longer needed, and I basically got fired without being said I was fired. And to rub salt into the wound, the same person told me, oh, but we have a job to manage traffic coming into the trail, so how about you do that instead? And I just said, I'm fine, thank you. To which he responds, so we'll see you then. And I just said, I'll pass. And I haven't gotten a response since then. So, is there a real moral to the story? I mean, I guess don't work at a haunted house. Read the fine print. Even if they deliberately make it really hard to read so you don't notice the part where they're trying to rip you off. They say man is the real monster, but the realest monster is haunted house operators? I don't know. Happy Halloween. Good night.